Welcome to this new video on Gran Turismo 7 today. I'm back with the first video in a series of videos that I'll be making about the game in the coming days. There might be 3, 4, or 5 of them. It will also depend on whether you like them or not. This video series will be dedicated to the secrets and hidden details of Gran Turismo 7. Because indeed, Gran Turismo 7 has an incredible number of little things that you don't necessarily notice at first glance, and that you might not even notice after several hundred hours of gameplay. A whole bunch of little details, a whole bunch of hidden features, details about the cars, details about the gameplay, that make Gran Turismo 7 ultimately offer a pretty exceptional gameplay experience. If you enjoy this kind of video, don't hesitate to show your support by leaving a like on this video, and of course by leaving a comment as well. If you're really, let's say, motivated by this series, I'll do my best to bring you episode 2 as soon as possible. We're going to start with 2 pretty incredible details that really concern 2 particular cars in the game. The first one is about the Toyota Trueno. On this car, when you go over 100 km/h and 105 km/h, 2 different things will happen. The first thing is that once you go over 100 km/h, a small yellow indicator light will turn on your dashboard. And if you go over 105 km/h, there will be a small alert, a little sound that will go off. So I'll be quiet so you can listen to it. It's very subtle, but there are 2 little bell sounds that are there to alert the driver that you've actually gone over 105 km/h. So why does this car have that? Because in the 1980s and 90s, it was part of the more or less mandatory safety equipment on Japanese cars to let the driver know that they were exceeding or at least reaching the speed limit on Japanese highways. So 100 km/h was, let's say, the maximum legal speed on highways at the time. And 105 km/h is simply to remind you that you're already 5 km/h over the maximum allowed speed. There's a similar detail on the Mazda RI-7 Spirit Air. When you approach the engine's maximum RPM at high revs, a chime will sound. Let me play that for you. And as long as you don't shift gears, it keeps beeping. It's simply to alert the driver that you're at high revs and it's time to shift gears. To my knowledge, it's the only car in the game with an audible alert for shifting gears. On other cars, there are different systems, like LEDs on more modern cars. LEDs that will change color or start blinking to let you know when to shift gears. But as for audible alerts, I think it's the only one in the game. Of course, in the game, there are a lot of incredible details about the cars. But there are also quite a few details about the tracks and the game world. For example, regarding the spectators in the stands, there's something pretty cool. When you start a race, a regular race, the stands are packed. There are lots of spectators who come to watch the race. But if you launch the same track under the same conditions, except instead of starting a race, you start, for example, practice sessions or time trial mode. Well, the stands are much emptier because, just like in real life, spectators are less likely to come watch a car doing a time trial than the main race with lots of cars competing. By the way, here's another interesting detail about the spectators. The spectators don't dress the same way in the stands when it's a sunny race as they do if you start a race in rainy conditions. They've put on raincoats and some have umbrellas, while earlier in sunny Catalonia, they wore short-sleeved t-shirts. The game's menus also have cool features, so maybe some people know this, but I think not all players have necessarily noticed. Every time you change cars in the game, you hear your car start up. And something pretty interesting. Each car's startup sound is its real-life startup sound. The game developers actually recorded the sound of each car's startup. So that's already pretty cool. The recorded car sounds are really nice. Plus, they're really pleasant. And a really cool little detail as well is that the game takes the engine swap system into account. That means if you start a car that has the engine of another car, well, it's the sound of that other car that will play. For example, on my Lamborghini Huracan, where I have a Bugatti engine installed, a W16. Well, it's the sound of the W16 that you hear. Since we're talking about cars, here's something else. Maybe some people know it, but maybe not everyone. And it's actually really important for the gameplay. You should know that maintaining your car in Gran Turismo 7 is absolutely necessary. First, when you buy a used car, Don't hesitate to change the oil on some cars right away. It helps you regain a bit of power. But in general, for your car, when your oil condition goes from excellent to good, change the oil right away. First, because when the oil quality drops, the car's performance drops too. But also because if you wait too long, with oil quality that's too low, you'll start to cause damage to your engine. And then it won't just be an oil change you'll need, but rather an engine overhaul to restore it to its best condition. Or if you wait too long, you might have to replace the entire engine. And on some cars, engines cost several million credits, so it's better not to let it get to that point. There are also a lot of really cool details on most of the modern cars in the game. By modern, I mean cars that came out after the 2000s and that have quite a bit of electronics and digital features, especially for the dashboard display. For example, on this latest generation Porsche 911 GT3 RS on the gauge cluster inside, at the bottom left under the speedometer. The odometer, which is the mileage counter, will display the vehicle's total mileage at the bottom. This number doesn't reset. That means if I reach 45 km in this race and then start another one afterwards, it will still show 45 km. And on top of that, above it, we have the mileage for the current session. That means I've done 2.1 km since I started this track at Le Mans. And if I go a little further, we just went up to 2.2 km for the session. So it's a small detail, but it's far from the only one. For example, you should know that on most modern cars, when you put on the handbrake warning light will appear on the dashboard. When you use the turn signals, the little icons will also show up. If you turn on the hazard lights, they will too. And of course, the headlights. Unfortunately, in the game, you don't get to choose when to turn on the headlights. The game does it for you. But if you restart the same race during the day and there's no need to turn on the headlights, the icon at the bottom won't be displayed. In fact, the game even distinguishes between different headlight levels. For example, if you do a race in foggy conditions and the game decides to turn on the fog lights, there will also be the fog light icon that will light up. Another pretty cool little detail, on tracks where there are clocks, like for example at the top right of the screen, the Rolex clock, it will already show you the real weather. So here, 15 degrees during the event. But the clock on the right also shows the in-game time. So here, for example, it says 9:45. And if I look in my car, and if I look at the time on the clock that's in the middle of the screen, it's also 9:45 p.m. And if we wait for it to turn to 10 p.m., it will also change to 10 p.m. on the clock at the top. By the way, it's kind of the same thing. When you look at your car in the game menus, for example, in the Garage tab, your car inside its cockpit, it will display the same time as the one shown on the game menu. For example, here it says 11:17 a.m. if you look at your car. In this menu, and you wait for the interior to be shown to you, or you press R1. There, you can see at the top on the dashboard 11:17 a.m. and in the same way, it just updated, that's perfect. On tracks that have a lap counter like this, displayed, the track will show the correct number of laps you've done, so I think we'll see it in this video. As we do a second lap while I say goodbye to you. It will switch to 2 laps after we finish the first and start the second. We're now at the Goodwood track, and this feature is also on many other tracks. So you see, there are lots of little details, things that don't necessarily change everything in the game. But actually, when you start to pay attention to them, you realize that Gran Turismo 7 is really the kind of game that pays attention to detail. You see, that's what I like about Gran Turismo 7. It's that the devs spend a crazy amount of time modeling things that will only be seen by 0.1% of players. And yet, for those who are truly passionate about cars, about motorsport, well, it's really the little things that matter. And that show them the work was done thoroughly. And all these little things contribute to the immersion, and that's what makes Gran Turismo 7 a pretty exceptional racing simulation. In this video, I showed about 10 small things, and I have more to share. If you know any other secrets or hidden details about the game, leave a comment. Maybe it could be a bonus episode. But normally, I should be able to release 2 more videos in this style for you. If you like it, once again, let me know in the comments. That way, I'll do my best to get the second one out as quickly as possible. You saw, we made it to the second lap. Alright, I'll show you that. It's actually written backwards on the other side. So don't hesitate to subscribe for more videos like this. Come follow me on Twitch for the next live streams. The link will be in the description and in the comments. And of course, feel free to use my instant gaming link. You'll find it below this video. You can buy games cheaper and support my channel a bit. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.